CrossroadsToday.com, community members in San Antonio take a moment to honor the deadliest human smuggling event in history. Plus, potential flooding could hit the Crossroads area. Those details this afternoon. Plus, a Victoria man arrested on 2 charges, including assault of a police officer.
The weather is going to get very busy as a tropical system in the Gulf is headed toward the coast. We are looking for significant rainfall in the next 3 or 4 days, so stay tuned. We have all that coming up in a moment.
Continue with presidential election coverage. Trump under fire for comments he made about Milwaukee. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. We're going to kick off with weather this afternoon, so let's toss it over to our chief meteorologist, Mac Perez. Mac, what's the latest on that weather front?
Well, thank you very much, Karina. It is going to get very busy this week in the Crossroads. First of all, we have an alert for tomorrow because 3 to 5 inches, and I'm talking in about a day and a half, are likely to happen. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are going to be very soggy in all areas of the Texas coast. If you have outdoor plants, think about it, because you see all this pink area off the coast. That is a tropical storm watch. Now, it's not a named storm just yet, but it doesn't. It's still going to bring us quite a bit of rainfall. All of that activity that you see coming up, that's the light stuff. The heavy stuff is still to come. It's offshore, and that whole system will be dropping into the northern coast of Mexico, south of Matamoros, and dropping probably up to 15 inches of rain. So we're getting tropical weather. This could be named Alberto later tonight, but at the time being, it's a tropical depression that's bringing us quite a bit of rain. And we'll have a lot more on that coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. And with a tropical storm watch now in effect for our area of the Texas coast, and with 5 to 10 inches plus rainfall totals expected, flooding is now a growing concern throughout the Crossroads. Victoria County emergency management officials recommend those that live in flood-prone areas to consider moving to higher ground. It is recommended that everyone to stay weather aware. You can keep informed with our weather app and other necessary information by using the Victoria Emergency Management app, code RED, and also by using our Crossroads Today app. So here is your viewer poll. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen to vote. The question is, are you prepared in the event of a flood? Yes or no? We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Calhoun County residents who suffered losses from the storms in May have 1 month left to apply for federal assistance. The deadline to apply with FEMA is July 16th. FEMA is helping over 52,000 Texas households with $110 million in financial aid. The U.S. Small Business Administration approved $13 million in low-interest disaster loans to homeowners, renters, organizations, and businesses. FEMA specialists are available in Calhoun County right now, helping people apply for assistance. Now, a brand new program starts tonight on KAVU TV right after 25 News Now at 6. It's called Let's Grow Texas Ag. It's all about farming and ranching in the Crossroads. 25 News Now anchor Don Brubaker sits with the host, Joe Adams, and has more.
Karina, thank you. Welcome, Joe. Great to see you.
Hey, I appreciate being asked to come over and sit around for a little bit.
Hey, yeah, absolutely. Hey, we've seen a little bit of the show, some of us here. How excited are you about the big debut tonight?
Well, I'm very excited about it. I've enjoyed working with all the folks over here, and very much appreciate being able to start off over there in Cuero. I think that we had 2 great interviews over there with Mr. Blake Dunn and Ms. Patricia Muir. And so I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to give a spotlight to a lot of people in the ag industry, and I think that's what this deal is all about.
How long have you personally been involved in agriculture around here, and how did you get started in it?
Well, I guess I've been involved with it for just about ever. Started showing cattle, got cattle from Mr. Thomas, J. Carter Thomas over there, and he was in the Brahman business, just like Mr. Bob Massey and Miss Emily Dial over here in Victoria County. They all kind of ran together. So I had the pleasure of knowing those folks in those days. But I started working for Mr. Thomas in 1979 and then carried on working for Miss Thomas after that. So, and I'm still on the board of the foundation, Friar Thomas Ranch Foundation. So I've been involved with it for a long time.
How did you pick the 2 guests for this debut show?
Interesting enough, I think that probably going back to the show, and I met with Jason and Bianca over there one day, and Charlie Lozano, and we're sitting over there. And I think that the cattle business in DeWitt County is such a neat story, you know, and it goes back to, we tried to emphasize a little bit on the Chisholm Trail and starting the first drive starting from Cardinal Flats on April 1st of 1866. The reason that Blake and Miss Patricia are on this deal is that they share a great grandpa, Tip Alexander. Huh. And Tip Alexander was a young man that was on the very first cattle drive that headed to St. Joe, Missouri on that April 1st. Wow. So yeah, so it's a direct tie, and it goes back, you know, and you got to remember that in those days it was right after the Civil War, and so the museum over there is preserving the heritage and the history of, basically it's kind of the start of the cattle business. Mm-hmm. You know, after the Civil War, everybody comes back, and most of the folks don't have a whole lot of money, but they do have a lot of wild cattle, so they gathered them up and they shipped them to St. Joe and turned them into cash. So to me, that's kind of where the cattle business began for our area.
Right. Well, you can see and hear more of Joe Adams on Let's Grow Texas Ag right on this station right after 25 News Now at 6 tonight. Thanks for coming by. I'm looking forward to seeing the show.
I appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoys it.
I think so. All right, Karina, back to you.
Don, thank you. Victoria police arrested a 28-year-old man Sunday. Eddie Vasquez of Victoria faces 2 charges, including assault of a police officer. He remains in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $41,000 bond. The deadliest human smuggling event in U.S. history took place nearly 2 years ago right here in Texas. On June 27, 2022, the bodies of 53 migrants were found in a semi-truck. A permanent memorial for those victims will be revealed later this month.
Almost every day you can find Angie Alvera here on Quintana Road, maintaining the memorial to remember the 53 migrants who were killed.
These are lost souls that are still here. We just need to remind ourselves as to what these people went through.
She's picked up trash, added new flowers, and honors whatever other request she can.
He told me, you know, if I send you money, will you go buy a can of beer, flowers, and some balloons for my brother's birthday? And I did that.
Almost 2 years ago, on June 27th, 53 migrants were found in a semi-truck on Quintana Road without access to food or air conditioning. Mostly all of them already dead by the time they were found.
It's important to honor the 53 lives here because this is literally where they took their final breath. They were trying to get here looking for a better life.
Which is why the beginnings of a permanent memorial are now right next to the memorial built by the volunteers.
We will have little areas where people can sit and reflect, and more importantly, we will have the names and the countries of origin of every person that lost their lives on a plaque.
A small memorial garden lined with an even more significant detail.
We have a very detailed significance in that we're also placing rocks of different sizes because we know that it was different ages of the people who lost their lives.
A standing reminder of the largest tragedy in our country involving migrants.
This time it was them. You never know it will be us. That's my motto. Today was them, might be us later on. Not my generation, but my kids' generation, my grandkids, my great-grandkids, and further down. You never know what the situation will be.
An inmate at Smith State Prison in Georgia shot and killed a food service employee. At approximately 4:30 a.m. Sunday, inmate J. Derrickis Hart was working in the kitchen at Smith State Prison when he shot and killed a food service employee. Hart then turned the gun on himself. He was transported to a local hospital where he was later pronounced dead. The slain kitchen worker, that's 24-year-old Aaron Grace, had worked at the prison since January. This is the second killing of a staff member at Smith State Prison in less than a year. The Republican National Convention is quickly approaching. It starts July 15th in the key swing state of Wisconsin. But former President Donald Trump's recent comments in a closed-door GOP meeting about the host city, Milwaukee, have already been making headlines.
After reports surfaced that Donald Trump referred to Milwaukee, the host city of the upcoming Republican National Convention, as a horrible city, several Republicans tried to clarify the former president's comments.
He wasn't talking about the city. He was talking about specific issues in the city.
Others in the closed-door meeting said they didn't hear it.
We got asked it after the meeting, and I was like, I never heard this once, so I'm not understanding where this is even coming from.
But Democrats are seizing on the reported remarks. The Democratic National Committee responded by launching 10 billboards across the city featuring Trump's quote. And President Joe Biden took to social media writing, "I happen to love Milwaukee." Republicans selected Milwaukee to host their national convention, which starts July 15th.
This is a great place, and the former president and every Republican who will have the chance to come to our great city, they'll see that when they're here on the ground in Milwaukee for the convention.
Milwaukee Mayor Democrat Cavalier Johnson said that insulting the home of tens of thousands of Republicans in Wisconsin could be politically costly for the former president as he seeks another 4 years in the White House.
When it's in a state that's decided on a razor's edge, that may ultimately cost Donald Trump the election.
Wisconsin will no doubt be an important state in November. Polls show these two candidates in a neck-and-neck race there. Back in 2020, Biden won Wisconsin by about 21,000 votes.
After hearing arguments that a shelter is violating state law, an El Paso judge will make a ruling on whether to close a migrant shelter that aids undocumented immigrants. You can read this Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. As summer temperatures heat up, a series of health issues can also come up. That's straight ahead on 25 News now at 5. Also ahead, we take a moment to honor and celebrate the grandmother of Juneteenth. A federal judge blocked the Biden administration's effort to expand the scope of Title IX. That's the law that prohibits sex-based discrimination in schools. The administration proposed extending those protections for LGBTQ+ students. The new rules were set to take effect August 1st, but 6 states, including Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia, all filed a lawsuit that challenged this new law. On Monday, a federal judge sided with the states, saying that for now, the new protections cannot go forward while the lawsuit plays out. Around 25 million people in the U.S. have asthma, and this time of year, thunderstorms and summer weather can worsen these symptoms. Here are ways to avoid being breathless this summer.
Spring and fall get a lot of flack for worsening symptoms of asthma, but summer causes concerns too, especially with stormy weather.
The humidity and wind associated with the thunderstorms break those pollens into very, very small particles that can be aerosolized very easily.
Dr. Laurie Manka with National Jewish Health says research shows asthma sufferers are at increased risk of needing to go to the emergency room during severe weather, but these patients can protect themselves.
One, I think if somebody has asthma, trying to really do some reflection about what seems to be the triggers. Is it driven by allergy? Do you have associated allergic rhinitis or inflammation of the sinuses related to allergy?
If allergies trigger asthma, reduce exposure by staying indoors in times of high pollen. Take allergy or asthma medicine as prescribed. Avoid touching your eyes. Shower and change clothes after being outdoors to remove pollen, and keep windows closed. Manka says to also frequently check forecasts.
Knowing where to find pollen counts, air quality index reports in your area to see what it's like outside, before you go outside.
Manka says to go over best treatment options with your doctor and formulate a plan on what to do if symptoms increase. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
In just 2 days, Ms. Opal Lee, also known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, will take her yearly 2.5-mile walk. But her journey began some 85 years ago. Her parents moved the family from Marshall, Texas to Fort Worth into a home that was predominantly of a white neighborhood. On June 19, 1939, a crowd of 500 people gathered across the street from the Lee's home. Lee says her dad came home with a gun and police told him if he fired it, he would let the mob go after them.
Our parents sent us to friends several blocks away. They left under cover of darkness. Those people tore that place asunder. They drug the furniture out and burned it. They did despicable things. But our parents never, ever discussed it with us.
Ms. Lee says she wants people to hear her story and know if people can be taught hate, they can also be taught love. Dr. Lee went on to be an advocate for Juneteenth to become a federal holiday back in 2016. She achieved her goal in 2021 when President Joe Biden declared it a national recognized holiday.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We've had some clouds, a few little light showers roll around the area. Right now we're about 85. Feels like 95 because of the humidity. Our high officially was at 92, right at about normal for this time of year. We've been up to 101, but boy, it's going to be very different this week from last week. We've got some big rain headed in our direction. I'll have all the latest for you coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. We have alert days up for pretty much everybody. Here's what we expect. Heavy thunderstorms, 3 to 5 inches, possibly more, in the next 2 or 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week. So the entire Texas coast and the crossroads are going to be in on this. So you just really need to pay attention to the weather. Now, in the green, you see where we already have a flood watch. and that is from Houston through Victoria all the way down to deep South Texas. That is a flood watch. We expect within the next 2-3 days some flooding. Well, here in the pink, we already have a tropical storm watch, as you can see right about there. Went into effect right at about 4:15 this afternoon, and that's because we're looking for quite a bit of rain to start rolling up into our area. Like I told you last week, we have an area of low pressure down in the Gulf. It is now getting, shall we say, going, and as a result, the heavy stuff is off the coast. Now, you might have noticed today it looked very different, right? We got the big puffy clouds and a few little showers, but the real heavy stuff is yet to come, and that area of low pressure is right here. Now, it has a potential to become a named storm even tonight, okay? It's up to 35, 40 miles an hour, so it's very close to becoming a named tropical storm. But look at the rain chance. That's Tuesday, that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. A very wet week in the Crossroads. Now, here's the tropical depression. It's down here. You can see how it's going to be moving to the northwest, and then it's going to turn. So we're on the north side of that. So we're on the side where all that stuff is going to be slamming onto the coastal areas. That's why we have the potential to see some of the heaviest rain we have seen in a while. And here's the real tricky part. You know, the big thunderstorms we had earlier this year, well, they would roll through, stay for a day, and go. This is 3 or 4 days. Okay, so our chances for even getting flooding out of this are very high because it's going to be raining over itself. And you can see how that continues all the way to Wednesday. The storm center itself is going to go in near San Fernando and north of Tampico, south of Brownsville. But like I said, we're definitely invited into this game. And as you can see, big stormy weather from San Antonio south to the Brownsville area. In fact, even places like Del Rio are going to, I'm thinking Falcon Dam is going to get filled up after this is through, because in the watershed of the Rio Grande, there's going to be substantial rainfall in the next week. Now, here's an idea of how much we're going to get, and you're going to be a little surprised by this. This is the rainfall total in the future, okay? Hello, you see 5 inches? You see 4, 8 inches down along the coast? Okay, that's what the computer model is telling us. If we're anywhere close to that, you know we're going to get some sort of flooding around here. So here's the future cast. So we go on Monday night, very light. We get into Tuesday morning, you can see the heavier stuff coming in. I do believe that by Tuesday night, we're going to be rocking and rolling with stormy weather moving ashore. It looks like Wednesday will be the peak of the activity when the storms get heaviest in our region. And so Wednesday is really the day I'm telling you, you're going to be sitting at home having a cup of coffee. It's not going to be worth going outside. So today, or rather tomorrow, Tuesday, partly cloudy early, then scattered showers beginning to develop. We're still sort of on the light side, but it begins, all right? And then tomorrow in Cuero, we're looking partly cloudy, then afternoon showers developing, getting up to about 90 degrees. But Wednesday is the peak of the activity. But I have it as an alert day because all of you are going to be affected by it. All of you will be seeing some sort of rain. Wednesday is the peak, Thursday a little bit of a break, and then we'll see how we do as we get into the weekend. But it's a very tropical week, so get your galoshes, your raincoats, and your kayak and get them ready. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. Coming up next on 25 News Now 5, we're going to take a look at your stocks. Plus, you may want a new breakfast staple. Bacon prices, they're on the rise. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 181 points, the S&P 500 up 42 points, and the Nasdaq up 168 points. Oil up $1.88, closing at $80.33 per, or rather 88 cents per barrel. Now, if you're trying to watch your wallet, you might want to consider buying a different type of breakfast meat. That's because bacon prices are sizzling while ham prices are cooling off. Inflation data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics says bacon is nearly 7% more expensive than it was a year ago. Meanwhile, ham prices dropped more than 6% since last year. Experts say people are more willing to pay more for bacon than some other pork products, and that lets retailers keep those prices high. Alrighty, stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast when we come back. Plus, national parks now offering free entry on Juneteenth. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
This week, a hot start of summer, the dangerous heat on the move, plus the major decisions on guns, immunity, and homelessness. What to expect. More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast on television.
Experience our streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscast and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. The National Park Service is waiving entry fees at all national parks Wednesday in honor of Juneteenth. June 19th is the national holiday celebrating the end of slavery in the U.S. It was on that date in 1865 that the last enslaved peoples in Texas were finally freed. The Emancipation Proclamation was supposed to have taken effect more than 2 years earlier. Juneteenth officially became a federal holiday in 2021, and this year is the first time it will be free entry day at U.S. national parks. What a great way to celebrate. Go out there and get some fresh air.
And Juneteenth is a total Texas thing. The general came on a boat, got off at Galveston Island, read the document and said, hey, we're free. And they looked at each other. It's over.
And they were
it's
free.
an amazing thing.
Well, Mac, we got these flooding, and you're telling me I got to be prepared. You told me to buy a kayak.
Get your kayak ready, just in case, because I do expect, I started with this forecast about a week ago, and I'm proud to say that it's pretty much on the money. So today we get the little showers. Tomorrow it gets a little heavier. Wednesday is the peak of the event when we get really heavy thunderstorms. Between Wednesday, Thursday, we may see a little bit of flooding around here, folks, so just get ready for that. Remember, low water crossings, areas near the rivers. My biggest concern is that people, throw trash. The trash clogs up the storm drain, and then you've got flooding where you're not supposed to have flooding because of the drain clogged. But just consider that, folks. I think your days are going to be mostly spent indoors for the next 3 as the rainfall gets heavy with this tropical system rolling in. So we may have this storm named Alberto later tonight, but regardless, we're going to get some strong rain.
Alrighty, thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is next.